Welcome to a fashion doll shoes tutorial.
I wasn't going to shoot a video of this next part because it's a bit boring, just sanding and more painting, but there are things I want to tell about the reasons why I'm making these videos, and I really don't feel comfortable staring at the camera and talking, so this works better. I'll do these while I'm telling what I want to tell. But first, here is some sandpaper. I'm going to use this to fix these. There are some things that need to be removed. The painted surface isn't quite even, and this has been soaking in water for about 10 minutes. That's what the instructions said I should do. And I have here a sheet of this paper, and let's see if I can show you. Here you can see it's very fine sandpaper, and you can use it either dry or wet, but I'm using it wet because that way there won't be any dust. And I'm sneezing quite enough even without extra dust, so I have this wet piece of sandpaper, and then I'm going to check these and sand where needed. And the stuff I was planning to talk about, it's really it's a story, once upon a time, except there's a definite start, at least sort of start, and that was around the end of 2009. One evening I went to bed. Everything was perfectly normal. I had no idea that something was wrong. And then the next morning when I woke up, my left eye had lost about half of its vision. Everything was really foggy, and it was a total surprise. I had no idea at first, and then I remembered that I had felt pain behind that eye a couple of weeks earlier for a few days, and at that point my mother had suggested what it might be, and I just told her that no, can't be, not me. Okay, then I went to see a doctor, and then I got sent to the eye clinic at the hospital, and I saw another doctor, and they did all sorts of tests, and then I got sent to the neurology department and saw first one neurologist and then another, and well, the end result is that I've got MS. It was optic neuritis that was wrong with my eye, and that's an inflammation in the optic nerve. It's one of the ways you find out that you have MS. And even though I knew, I had all known for a long time that I had an elevated risk of getting it. My mom has had it for 30 years now. I was around 14 or 15 when she got the diagnosis. And the family members of someone who's got MS have elevated risk. It's not a certainty, but there is a bigger risk. And I knew that, but I was very certain that I would never get it. Don't ask me why. I just knew I can't get it. And now I've got it. It's really, it hasn't turned out as bad as I thought it would. Not for now, at least. And it's my life isn't really that different. There are things I can't do, like I can't go on very long bicycle rides anymore. It's just impossible. And my knees are in fairly bad condition, but otherwise it hasn't affected my mobility that much, and I can still use my hands. I have a tendency to drop things, and sometimes it gets really difficult with really small parts when doing these doll shoes, but generally things are okay in that part. The worst part is what I've called cognitive functions, and that means how your brain works, how clever you are, how well you concentrate, all that. And I'm definitely having the concentration issues. Like, one of the reasons why it's a bit hard to do these videos is that I'm losing the ability to multitask. Everything's just fine when I concentrate on one thing at a time, which is good because it means I can still do my work just as well as I used to. But when I do something like this, where I need to do different things at once, like sanding this and talking about totally unrelated matters, things get a bit difficult. And that's really, well, that's one of the reasons why I'm making these videos, because first of all, I'm making these while I still can. There's the possibility that at some point I can't do something like this anymore. Either I can't talk in English anymore. It's not my first language, so it might go, which would be really bad considering that I'm a professional translator. It would ruin everything. So I'm hoping the issues aren't getting that bad anytime soon. But doing this small stuff is another thing that may go if I can't use my hands properly at some point. I'll have to stop all this making doll shoes and other miniatures, and that would be bad also, but not quite as bad as losing some of my communication abilities. And it's really strange that my mother, she's as bright as you could expect from someone her age who was totally healthy. She doesn't have any of the cognitive issues. She just lost her ability to move. She's been in a wheelchair for years now, and her hands don't work that well either. But there's nothing wrong with her head, and I'm having sort of minor issues with both sides, so that my brain doesn't work quite as well as it once did, and there are some of these problems like my knees and the fact that I just don't have the energy for long periods of physical exercise. It's really, I remember when I was in my 20s, it was no problem going for cycling and cycle something like 40 kilometers and getting back. I was tired, but I could have gone out again after that. So, and now I go for a ride, let's say 10-15 kilometers, and when I get back, I need the rest of the day just to recuperate from the effort. And it makes me mad at times, but it's one of those things you just need to learn to live with, because what would be the other option? There's nothing much you can do about it except try to retain as much of the physical abilities you have. Fight back as hard as you can, but accept the fact that you're not going to get any better. I saw a research paper recently which had a title that was in no way encouraging. It said, "There is no such thing as benign MS. No matter how easy you get it, it's still going to do things to your brain. You can't see it and you can't feel it, but you'll notice little things. Like, I haven't had another relapse after that thing with my left eye, but I have noticed all sorts of little things which, taken one at a time, would be nothing, but when you know what's behind it, it's much worse." And it's really one of the reasons I'm writing the book also, that I want to do that as well while I still can. hopefully I can continue doing all this stuff for a long time still, but you'll never know. And that's really one of the worst things about MS. It's that you don't know how your body will perform the next day when you wake up. You can go to bed feeling perfectly normal, or what's normal for you at the moment, and wake up and notice that some parts of your body has totally stopped working. Like you could get one half of your body paralyzed. That's one of the worst parts. So I've heard about that happening. So I'm really, as silly as it may sound, I have been lucky, because the vision problem isn't the worst thing that could have happened, and it went away. My left eye can see normally at the moment. It took some time to get it back to normal, something like 6 or 7 months, but it did get back to normal. That's the main thing. And I haven't had another relapse since that. But the thing is, the next one may come at any time. No one can tell. And that's the really crappy part of this illness, that's in some ways taken over my life. And the reason I don't hide the fact that I've got MS is that I don't feel any need to do that. I didn't do anything wrong. This is the kind of illness that you either get it or you won't, and there's nothing you can do about it. No amount of healthy lifestyle choices can prevent you from getting MS. There are things you can do once you know you have it, and things you can do to slow it down and ease the symptoms, but it's really very individual. Some people can do more about it than others. It depends so much on how bad you've got it. So even though there is no benign MS, mine isn't as bad as it could be. It's slower, and I have fewer symptoms, at least for now, but there's no certainties. No one can say what's going to happen tomorrow, but of course you can say that about anything. None of us can know what's happening tomorrow, and it's normally people don't think about it because you don't need to. You're not constantly reminded of the fact that anything can happen at any moment, but when you've got this thing that's a constant reminder that there are no guarantees. It just keeps nagging, no matter how much you try to forget it. But for now, I'll keep doing anything I can do, and hopefully things will stay the same as long as possible.